Rue escapes. Cassie and Maddie reconnect. Alamo starts acting almost kind. And somehow that might be the most dangerous thing in the whole episode. Because this chapter is not really about action. It is about what happens after survival. What people say when the gun is not in the room. What people hide when the threat looks softer. And what trust even means when everybody around you has already lied, used, or betrayed someone else to stay alive. Hey, what's up everyone? Come back to Breakdown Epic. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Now, this episode does something really interesting. Instead of pushing non-stop chaos the way some of the previous chapters did, it pulls back just enough to let the emotional consequences breathe. And in my opinion, that makes it one of the more dangerous episodes of the season. Not because nothing happens, a lot happens. Rue escapes, alliances shift, Cassie and Maddie start rebuilding something. Alamo starts talking like a man who wants peace. But that is exactly why the episode works. It makes everybody feel like they are stepping into a calmer space, while quietly suggesting that the real damage has only just started.
Let's start with Rue, because the opening stretch with Faye and Wayne sets the tone immediately. The story picks up right where things were left hanging, and that was the right choice. No delay, no reset, just panic. Rue knows the window is tiny, and if she hesitates, she is done. So the escape through the underground passages works not just as action, but as character continuation. This is still Rue surviving by instinct, by movement, by reading spaces faster than the people trying to trap her. The difference now is survival is starting to cost her in a deeper way than just physical pain. Wayne chasing her through that space matters because it keeps the pressure intimate. This is not a giant police raid or some huge public confrontation. It is one person hunting another through narrow routes where every wrong turn could end everything. That kind of tension works better than loud chaos because it keeps us in Rue's body. Her breathing, her fear, her need to get out now. And then G shows up. That moment is important because it gives the escape emotional weight instead of just making it mechanical. Rue is not getting out alone. Someone chooses to help her. Someone is still willing to risk something for her. And in a season where almost every relationship is poisoned by leverage, debt, or self-interest, that kind of rescue lands harder than it normally would.
But here is what I think the episode is really doing with Rue. It is not just showing us that she escaped, it is showing us that escaping one trap does not mean she is free. That is a huge difference, because once Rue gets out, the episode starts loading her with emotional weight instead of immediate physical danger. She is injured, exhausted, clearly not okay even when she says she is, and that is where the writing becomes stronger. It understands that some of the scariest parts of Rue's journey are not the chases, it is the silence after the chase, when she has to sit with what just happened and what it means. That is why the scenes with Ali matter so much. Their conversation gives the episode a moral center. Faith, purpose, meaning after pain, all of that could sound overly neat in the wrong hands, but here it works because Rue does not feel healed. She feels tired enough to finally stop pretending she is fine. That is not redemption yet. It's the beginning of honesty. And honestly, that is more interesting. Real change in a character like Rue should never look easy. It should look slow, reluctant, painful, and unfinished. Personally, I think that is what this episode gets right about her. It does not magically clean her up. It just shows that she may finally be reaching the point where she understands survival is not the same thing as living. Now, let's move to Cassie and Maddie, because this part of the episode might be quieter on the surface, but emotionally, it is huge. Watching them sit together and actually talk after everything that has happened is honestly kind of surreal. These are two people with so much damage between them that even a normal conversation starts to feel loaded. Maddie admitting she does not know what comes next is one of the best little moments in the episode, because for once, she is not performing control. She is not acting tougher than she feels. She is just uncertain. And that matters because Maddie has spent so much of this season surviving through detachment. So hearing doubt from her feels real. Then Cassie reassures her, and in another show you might roll your eyes and think, okay, here comes the easy friendship reset. But I don't think that is what this scene is doing. I think it is showing two people who have hurt each other deeply, trying to feel human in the same room again. That is not the same as everything being fixed, it's just the first crack in the wall. Personally, I think that is what this episode gets right about her. It does not magically clean her up. It just shows that she may finally be reaching the point where she understands survival is not the same thing as living. Now, let's move to Cassie and Maddie, because this part of the episode might be quieter on the surface, but emotionally, it is huge. Watching them sit together and actually talk after everything that has happened is honestly kind of surreal. These are two people with so much damage between them that even a normal conversation starts to feel loaded. Maddie admitting she does not know what comes next is one of the best little moments in the episode, because for once, she is not performing control. She is not acting tougher than she feels. She is just uncertain. And that matters because Maddie has spent so much of this season surviving through detachment. So hearing doubt from her feels real. Then Cassie reassures her, and in another show you might roll your eyes and think, okay, here comes the easy friendship reset. But I don't think that is what this scene is doing. I think it is showing two people who have hurt each other deeply, trying to feel human in the same room again. That is not the same as everything being fixed, it's just the first crack in the wall.
He just needs Rue to wonder what the price of his approval is going to be, and that uncertainty is poison. Now, let's widen the lens a little, because one of the strongest things in this episode is the atmosphere of coming collision. Different groups are moving toward different goals, but nobody fully understands how close all of those decisions are to smashing into each other. That is what gives the whole episode tension, even in quieter scenes. You can feel it. Something is coming. Not necessarily because the episode says it out loud, but because the structure keeps placing people on paths that are going to intersect whether they are ready or not. This is where the show starts feeling less like separate storylines and more like pressure building in one sealed room. Rue is trying to recover physically and emotionally while still trapped in consequences. Cassie and Maddie are trying to rebuild some kind of bond while standing in the ruins of who they used to be. Alamo is reframing power as partnership. Other people are still making moves in the background, unaware that all of this is moving toward one shared breaking point. And that leads to the bigger theme of the episode: trust. Who do you trust after survival? Who do you forgive after betrayal? Who do you become once the emergency ends and you still have to live with yourself? That is why I do not see this episode as filler or as a simple setup.
It is actually doing heavy emotional work. It is showing what these characters look like in the space between impact and aftermath. And in my opinion, those are often the most revealing episodes in any show. Not the ones where everyone screams. The ones where people try to act normal while carrying something they clearly cannot carry alone. Let me pause here for 1 second and say this directly. If you are watching this episode waiting for one giant answer or one huge twist, I think you missed what makes it effective. The power of the episode is not in resolution. It is in emotional exposure. Rue saying she is fine when she is not. Maddie admitting uncertainty. Cassie choosing comfort over conflict for a moment. Alamo sounding calm enough to make everyone uneasy. The episode is not solving people, it is revealing them. And that is why the final stretch matters. Because once those truths are out, the next decisions hit harder. Now, for my biggest theory coming out of this episode, I do not think Alamo's softer energy is a sign of peace. I think it is the setup for a bigger test. He is watching Rue, studying her, trying to figure out what she will do when offered something that looks safer than fear.
And if she accepts that version of him too easily, then I think she walks into an even deeper trap. At the same time, I think Cassie and Maddie rebuilding their bond is real, but fragile. One more lie, one more selfish move, one more outside force pushing in, and it could crack again immediately. That makes their scenes emotional, but also unstable. So overall, I think this episode is about what remains after chaos. And what remains is not peace. It is weight. It is guilt. It is damaged trust. It is people trying to move forward while still carrying every bad decision that got them here. That is why the episode feels so emotionally dense even when it slows down. It understands that survival scenes are loud, but aftermath scenes are where people actually reveal who they are. But anyway, that is my breakdown of this Euphoria episode and why I think the quieter emotional consequences here may matter more than the action itself. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, do you think Alamo is genuinely trying to change, or is this calm version of him actually more dangerous than the violent one? I will catch you in the next one.